Hey everybody. So this is Figure It Out Fridays. We are doing a Figure It Out Saturday, I guess it is, because it's an extension to Friday. Yesterday's video got kind of rushed at the end. I apologize for that. But this time we are gonna go ahead and finish off that video a little bit more slower, and hopefully a little bit more. I mean, it's still gonna be raw and uncut. Don't get me wrong, but we're gonna figure it out hopefully together and finish off what we started without being in a super rush. But today we are also joined by Ab. He's a 3D designer. He's currently studying to become a professional 3D designer. And welcome to the podcast, Ab.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So he has a situation where when he's doing 3D designing, he has to download textures quite often. And in those textures, basically, he will have to, like, he has to search the internet and grab some textures with a keyword search. And with that being said, when he downloads it, he has to, like, search through them. Now, it is a very subjective, right? You would say it's very subjective, right, Ab?
In terms of what sense?
Like, for example, like when you're going through them, it would be like what you like versus what you don't like, right? Because
Oh
it's going
yeah,
to be
100%.
selective. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very specific to the asset that I'm building, right? Like currently, whatever at the time.
Okay.
So yeah, it's ideal that I build a library of assets, like on a hard drive or whatever, and have that access that anytime I would like. But to download the amount of textures that I'd require, it's gonna take a lot of time.
Okay. And when you download those, like, would it be easier if like we built something like an automation tool where we would download them all and then you kind of just delete the ones you don't want?
100%. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we'll see if we can't do that as well in this episode, guys. We're gonna see if any of that comes to play. I think my chair's a little bit low, so raise her on up. There we go. And we're gonna go ahead and take care of that. So we're gonna get started by jumping in to our screen and pulling that up here. Let's go ahead and cut on over. And we need to actually add Ab here. We didn't add we need to add Ab. Where's the Ab? No. Okay, oh, that's the overlay. Where is, we gotta go here. We need to add image source. I don't know where you are, Ab.
Redownload.
I need to go grab it from the other screen, the other scene here. We'll grab both of these. We'll copy these, and then we'll throw them in here. Oh my god, it like blew up and looked crazy. Because we don't have a cut on that image, so
Yeah.
like there's no like cut for it. Okay, so you're just gonna go PNG style only, no background on this one. The
That's fine.
background is gonna be the screen. There we go. I'm just gonna size you on down and put you in the corner with me. All right, there we go. That should be good. Let's transition over to that. Hey, there comes Ab. All right.
Good to be on.
So, as you guys see here, we entered the SmartSheet world. You guys understood that we made a SmartSheet. We had 3 records on it. Ab, I don't know if you probably didn't see the video, but we basically have this SmartSheet. It's kind of like Google Sheets. It's used by a lot of enterprise companies, and but it's like has a couple other like more enterprise level features than like Google Sheets has, where security purposes and some automations and logic processes that Google Sheets doesn't readily cater to. So this one thing that we had in the previous episode was the we had a colleague that we talked to that was doing like data archival, right? And in that data archival, the reason why is because SmartSheets can only support up to 20,000 rows, and they were hitting that 20,000 row limit pretty often. And so what they were doing was basically copying the Smartsheet and then basically truncating all the data, but then they lose all that previous other data to do kind of like any kind of reporting or metrics and history on it. So one way for us to do that was to basically grab the data and stuff it into a database, and then from that database be able to do the metrics there.
Okay,
And so
that sounds cool.
yeah, so we're continuing. Not only that, but we have like on premise, right? So there's a lot of different things. Let's say, for example, the internet goes out, right? You still have access to the data for metrics and reporting. If you want to do reporting on a certain time frame, you still have all that. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Is just finishing up that. So we did end up that with that meeting or that session, we did end up finishing it off, and we did get it into a database, although we were quite rushed at the end. So I want to walk back through what we're actually doing in this. And I did clean this up since the last time that we did the podcast yesterday to have basically the API key not showing in a string. It's now hiding behind a JSON file. So up here, you guys are more than welcome to copy this data, but I'm not going to open up the JSON file for you to be able to see that. Because that does have the API key in it. And, as of right now, we only have about 1 or 2 watchers. Sure, this is more for video content for YouTube, but hopefully in the future, as the podcast grows and we actually have watchers, we don't want real-time people grabbing API keys and start messing with things. So we're going to be a little bit more sensitive with that going forward. But as of right now, all those API keys that were shown in yesterday's podcast have been revoked. So good luck. So we went through this. We imported, as we talked about in the projects, NuGet packages. We imported the packages of the C# SDK for SmartSheets. We also imported the Microsoft extensions, as well as we imported the SQL client. These are specifically for the JSON file app settings that we're using right now, but we imported these 2 packages here. So with that being said, you'll see that we created that Smartsheet like we talked about. We went and got the Smartsheet. We then wrote out on the screen in the console how many rows that were there and what the sheet name was. And then we looped over those. We created a data table, looped over those columns to add those columns to our data table. And then we looped over the rows, and then we had to put an inner loop over the columns to be able to grab the column name and the ordinal position. And then we basically then, at that point in time, added the row to the data table. And then down here, we are accessing the SQL server, and then we're using this nice auto SQL bulk copy that everyone from the last show saw. So that auto bulk SQL copy basically creates the SQL table app, if it doesn't exist already, essentially. If not, it just bulk copies the data table up to the SQL server.
Okay.
So that's basically where we left it. Now, the one thing that we didn't do here was, if you notice, if I run this, I'm going to go ahead and bring up that SQL server here. I'm going to go ahead and bring up this SmartSheet software, and our SmartSheet table and database. And we have this table here called API test sheet. And if we select the top 10,000 rows, or 1,000 rows from this, excuse me, you'll notice that it duplicated the rows. And that's, especially with the 20,000 row record, if we're doing it at the end of like where they're archiving, wouldn't be good, right? Should be duplicating nonstop. Now, if you're doing it and it's a one-time run, it's not a huge deal. But if you want to run this like on an automation perspective, like once a day, and make sure you gather the rest of the stuff, then it can become a difficult thing, because you would have these rows, and let's say they're only at like 10,000 rows right now, and then tomorrow they're at 13,000 rows, but you run it again, you don't want to have 23,000 rows. You want to just have 13,000 rows. And then the next day they're at 17, so on and so forth, and they're not ready to archive just yet, but they want this archival process running on a nightly basis, so that way they're capturing it just in case someone decides that day to archive, they have that day's stuff, or that evening's stuff. So with that being said, you'll notice if I run this program once again, we'll just go ahead and run it out. and we refresh the query, you're going to see that we're going to get another 3 records in there. So if I go and close it, program's done running, I refresh this query, I re-execute it, you're going to notice how we now have 9 records. And this is not good. We want to make sure that we obviously don't duplicate these records. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say delete. We're going to go and delete this table altogether because it does get recreated by our fancy dancy program here. And we're going to go ahead and go back in the program and take care of this. Now, basically, this is the magic sauce that copies everything to the server. So we really don't want to do that. We probably want to abstract it beforehand. Now, unfortunately, there is no column for ID that's an identifier column that the SmartSheets had. That SmartSheet didn't have an ID column, and that will probably be the case. I would say for almost any Excel spreadsheet. Whenever you make a list of stuff, you probably don't put a column in the first column and call it ID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's more of a database thing. So if you're not a database person that's dealing with data referencing all the time, it's very rare you're gonna have an ID column. However, SmartSheets does in the background, and so we can take advantage of that, and we can inject that column into the actual table. And the way that we're going to do that is when we're looping through over here, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and you'll see that we did, when we loop through and put the ordinal here, this is basically, ordinal is a position, is really what it means. And it's saying that it's going to start at 0 and then increase from there. So what we can do is when we're adding the columns, before we add the column set, we can actually inject a column ourselves. So we can do this and go, data table.columns, and we're going to do add. We're going to create a new column on the fly, data column, and then we're going to have this data type be equal to the type of, and then the type of, in this case, long, which is a long number basically. And then we're going to call this data column name SSID for SmartSheet ID. I think that's a fair name. But the problem is that it's going to go ahead and try to stuff, as you see here, all of this stuff here we just shifted it over 1, right? So the first column is going to go into the ID column, which will then fail. So what we're going to do is, instead of that, we're going to go here and say dt dot rows, and then we're actually, no, we need to do r dot cells. Yeah, r, and then this is gonna be a column name, so we call this SSID, and then we're gonna equal to, and in this case we have the row coming from SmartSheets dot ID, and then here we just, unfortunately, if I use the ordinal, again, it's referencing the ordinal of the sheet. So I do need to basically shift it over to the right. So we can just add +1, and we should be good to go. Because again, essentially, this is nothing but an integer. And that should inject our column just like that. So let's go ahead and run it and find out. Oh, we got an error. Uh-oh. Oh, it would help if I close my parenthesis. That's what it's yelling at me about. It's like, hey, dude. All right, so let's run this. Boom. Oh, we got an error. Okay. The input string Daniels was not in correct format. Could not store Daniels in SSID column. Okay. So for some reason, it is thinking that it's trying to store it in the SSID column. Okay, so let's find out. When we get down to here, let's take a look at our data table. It should be blank, and it should not have. It should have SSID column as the first column. Let's take a look. So we'll hover over data table, hit the view button, and we do have SSID column as the first column. So, but it's trying to put name in the SSID column, which is quite interesting. I don't know why it would do that when the ordinal is +1. Let's go ahead and step through it. So we'll go ahead and for each. So we only have a couple columns, so we can step through it. So we do for each row, we set the ID there. Now we're going to go through each column. And then if I go here, and I'm about to run this guy, c.ordinal should be 0, which it is. So, and c, this value should be, this case is the first column, should be Mike. It's Daniels. Oh no, it is right. I had Daniels first, I think, in the order. Right? No, I did not. Oh, but it's column name. Ah, I don't actually have to do that. I don't have to actually increase it. That's right. Wait, hold on. Column name. Oh, wait. But it's looping through my data columns. And my sheet is technically on the or my loop is technically on the first column of the data row. So you know what? We can do this a little bit easier. We're gonna go ahead and we're not gonna inject the column up here. Oh well. Oh yeah. No. Huh. We can just add an if statement. We'll just do that. We'll say if c.column name is not equal to our new fancy name, SSID, then do this. If not, then do what I said. And that should still work. I have confidence in that. I'm just going to run it without debugging. There you go. Maybe I shouldn't have had confidence. Index was out of range. Must be enough. Oh, I don't need to actually put the +1 because we're just skipping the first column because of this, essentially. There we go. That should run. Hey, oh. All right. Index was out of range. Must be. Okay. So we're here. What is. Oop, what is C? What is this? What is row.cells? So if we look at row and we look at cells, it's a count of 4. So 0 through 3. And if it's on, what's our column name right now? So what's our C column name right now? So column is on last modified day. And this would be ordinal 4, last modified by. And in reality, should that be last modified by? So if the ordinal is 4, it'd be 3 in the index. Display value is the name. Interesting. So if I do... So the column name should be last modified by, which is, I think, our last column, right? Yeah, last modified by. And the cells number is 4. Oh, it should be +1 still, technically. Because we have 5 columns now, because we have 4 columns here. And ordinal will be the 3rd position. Yeah. Because this is ordinal. I don't know if ordinal starts at 0 index or not. Run it. Must be a non-negative and less than the size of the collection. I mean... You know what? This is ugly. Let's just do it right and do DT columns, which is an IEnumerable. And we're going to do dot select or as enumerable. No, we don't have that. Nope. Okay, so columns is not enumerable. It's a data collection. And we don't have an as enumerable option on it. Okay. I don't think I could do as query. Like as queryable won't. I don't believe will give us the ability to enumerate. Let's try. I don't think so. Nope, it does not. So we're importing the ID. We add the ID. We run through the columns of that data table. We set the column name. We set the column name or whatever it's on right now equal to the cells of whatever the cell ordinal is. But the cell ordinal is referencing a different column name. Is the C column name of that, but we're going through the rows and we're grabbing the row cells. I'm gonna assume, let's try it like that. Because I pushed it, but it references the other one. There you go. That's why. Because I got it backwards. I'm referencing the cells of the data table here, but then I'm referencing the row, and the row does not have, because the row comes from the other thing does not have that original ID. So if we look now, and we look at our table here, databases. Oh, I am not on the right screen. I pulled up the right thing, wrong thing, sorry. And we look over here, object, and we go to our tables and refresh. We should have a new column called ID. We do. Now, what we can do is we can leverage the SSIDs with the stuff that we're getting from the other that we already have. So, for example, if we go in here, and now that we've filled it all up with our IDs, we can go get a copy after we add our rows. We can go get a copy of what we already have. So we can create a SQL command here, new, and then we can set the command connection equals to our connection that we had. Oh, nope, our connection variable. Why don't I have access to connection? Oh, I haven't created it yet. That's why. Here it is right here. Yeah. There's their connection. Let's bring this back up a little bit. And there's our connection. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put our command in. We already have a command. Okay, so we can just reuse that. Okay, and we're going to do command text equals to select star from, and then we can do string interpolation here. And we can do dt.table name, because that's what it's going to be. And then we can do, so we have that. And then we can do a new data table. So data table dt existing equals to new data table. And we could do data adapter. SQL data adapter. Data adapter equals to new. Data adapter. And then we have to pass in our command. And then we could do db exist data adapter dot. Should we just do dt existing data adapter dot fill? Oh, we have to open the thing, but dt existing here. We're going to fill this with whatever the data adapter comes back with. We need to open our connection first and fill it, and then we'll close our connection right after it. That should give us our data adapter, our new DT existing with whatever we have currently in the database. Now we could do something fancy here and use joins, but I'm not going to do that right now because that's going to get super complicated with link, and we're just going to keep it nice and simple, hopefully for you guys to understand. So we're going to do for each data row in DT, if we can actually do yeah, I don't know if we can actually do that. There's probably a way to do it with link, but I'm not pulling it off the top of my head here. Dot rows, and then we can do something like we're looping through our data table to new rows. So we want to say if row data row dot cells or data row, and then SSID dot value or dot toString. I guess it's a long either way, right? Because it's a long in the database, it's a long here. So we should be able to say if DT or DT existing dot rows dot contain or where DT existing dot select or as enumerable dot select, which we could have actually used up here, but whatever. So field, we'll use a lambda, and field dot, because this is a data table, we have to use this syntax, unfortunately. And then we can do this dot first. So if oh, this is gonna be a where, not select. Where the field equals to that, and then dots. Why are you yelling? Oh, maybe dot value. Whatever. We'll just compare strings because I'm not going to argue with this thing. What? What are you yelling about? What are you yelling about? Cannot put the data row to bool. No one asked you to convert data row to bool. What's a data row? Oh, it's yelling about this whole thing. That's why. toString, and then close this, and then we say dot first dot count, or you say I think is not equal to null. I don't know if it does that. I don't think it passes the not equal to null. Then we're gonna do, but if it does, then we're gonna say We can actually do this. We're looping through the. We can do dt existing dot row as enumerable dot where field dot field long SSID contains let's do the same thing. Okay. Let's see here. If the DT existing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so if this is not null, then that means it exists in the existing. So we're going to do, we should be able to do dt dot rows dot remove and then dr. And that should technically give us what we want. It's a roundabout way of doing it without link, without doing some other more advanced link stuff, but really, we should not see this duplicate. Incorrect syntax star doesn't like my query. Oh, yeah, it helps if you spell select right. Okay, let's try that again. All right, we got another error here. Unable to cast type of system.string to type of int64. Didn't ask you to. You're doing the opposite of what I asked you to do. I want you to cast a string to string. Technically, these are both longs, so I shouldn't have to cast either one of them, but it doesn't like it for some reason. Cannot be applied to operands and type of long. I don't know why. But if I cast it as a string, cannot convert type long to string. Why not? Do I have a contains? I don't have here because it's not a string. So what? I mean, what are you yelling at? I'm unable to cast object type of system.string to system int64, but I'm not casting it to 64. I'm doing the opposite. I'm casting it to a string. Oh, it's filling here. So it actually imported it. Oh. No, I put data type along here. It should be a oh. But here in the DT existing or in the DR new, the new stuff, no, it's type along. Coming in, DT data row DT. This DT should be this data row SSID should be a data type of long. They should both be long. If I look at here, you getting confused, Ab? As much as I am.
Trying to follow. I'm not gonna lie.
So yeah, as you see here, it wrote it as an end bar chart for some reason on my side, on into the database. Oh, I know why. It's because it created the data when it created it using this auto bulk copy. It probably created it as a var. It did. Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and add this up here. Because I'm using this way too much. This field. We're gonna call this string, static string special field equals to SSID. And every time that we see this SSID, we're going to replace it with this special field. So I don't have to keep typing it, one, and making sure I get it right, and two, because it's just better practice. All right, and then also down here, I want to go ahead and if the column name is equal to the special name, I want to do it as a int and not a when I create the table, and not a end bar char. So we're gonna do dc.column name. We can. Are we doing string interpolation here? Why is he not doing string interpolation here? This is so silly. Remember, we gathered this from somebody else, so apologize in advance. We're going to take out DC column name here. Get rid of that. Do some string interpolation. There we go. And then we're going to do string interpolation, and then we're going to do what they call a tyranny expression. Do you know what tyranny expression is, Ab?
Particularly, no.
It's kind of like a if this then that type of expression. So like, for example, if we do dc.column name, right, equals to our special field, right? Then the question mark is like, is it equal to that, right? And
Right,
if
right.
then if it is, then we're gonna give it an int, and we're gonna say this is primary key, not null. And then by default, primary key will be not null. And then the like colon says like basically else, right? Then we'll do n bar char max essentially.
Gotcha.
And this is like, so it's a way to do like an if else statement basically
Yeah, that's
in
what I took from.
in line, if that makes sense.
Yep, gotcha.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and run this again. We're gonna go delete that table so we can actually have it created as an ID field and not keep messing us up and making me scratch my head like crazy. And we're gonna rerun this because that was interesting. All right, we got an error here. Invalid object names. Oh, yeah, I guess if it doesn't exist, then we're gonna have a problem there, right? So we're gonna have to say we're gonna have to throw a quick little query around this and do command text equals to select star from sys.tables where name equals to, and then we'll do string interpolation here, and we'll do dt dot table name, and then we'll do connection open, and then we'll, just because I'm lazy, we're just going to go ahead and put this data adapter up here, and then we're just going to create a new data table here because again I'm lazy. dt if exists equals to new data table, and then we're going to do data adapter dot fill dt exists, and we're going to say if row count or dt exists dot table or dot rows dot count is greater than 0, which means it actually exists, or I should say equals to 0. Then we'll run this guy. And then we will close the connection no matter what. All right, so now it should work where it doesn't run that query basically if the table does not exist already. Invalid object API. Well, why is that? DT existing should not have. Oh, because it did the wrong. It did a DT existing, not DT exist. There you go. Boom. Oh, come on. Invalid API test. Why is it getting there? It shouldn't get there. DT exist. Oh, is null because it came back with nothing. SQL adapter command. System tables. It comes back with null, I guess. Okay, so we could make it easy. We could just say if dt if exists equals null or not equals to null. There you go, and then we'll run it, and we should be good to go. All right, come on. What's going on here? Oh, no. So dt if exists is null. First off, it shouldn't be null because I'm creating a new thing here. Oh, I guess it's coming back as null, setting as null. So if it exists, so if it's not null, then run the command again and stuff it into dt existing. Invalid object name. Oh, but it hasn't created it yet. No, but it should. Wait. If it's null, that means it doesn't exist. If it's not null, so this is not right. No, this is right. It comes back as null equals to. But then I don't want to select from it. So I would say, yeah, if it's not equal to null, because it would actually exist, then select from it. But what? So why is it going into it? Because it's evidently null. If I do this, it comes back as null. If I do equal null, it should be true. So how is it getting into here? Because dt exists is null. That is null, so it should skip over it and just close it. That doesn't make any sense. Let's debug it. That doesn't make any sense. So this statement should be false. And this statement should be, then it's going to come false. That doesn't make any sense. Can I access rows? Because right here, okay. So you can't, it's not actually null here. For whatever reason it was being null before. I should get 0. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. What the? Why was it null then before? So I did this right. Rows is not equal to 0. What the heck? Rows.count. That makes 0 sense. Why that Failed. Okay, now you're erring here. Sequence contains no elements. Yeah, so I need to see. Oh. I also need to put this up here too because I can't actually loop through something or move it if there is nothing there. So int64 from the data source cannot be converted to the type int. That is correct. It needs to be big int. That's how it represents long. Okay, so it probably did create the table though, so let's destroy it. All right, and we should be good to go. All right, one last time. Again, this code will be in the repository, so you're good to go. All right, so it did run successfully. If we look back at our tables and refresh, we have our table. We select top 1,000 rows. We only have 3 records. Now, here's the key with all that we did there. If we run it again, we should still only keep 3 records. If we don't get an error. All right, collection was modified. Enumeration option might not execute. What do you mean? What collection was modified? DT rows, DR rows. I'm not. Oh, because I'm modifying it before. I'm modifying it as I go. Okay. Okay. Let's do the more advanced way. I don't remember how to do it off the top of my head, so let's see what Google has to say about it. Let's see. Delete from data table where field contains. Probably should say C# at the end. So this is basically what we're doing. It's doing the same thing, but why wouldn't it give him? I guess we can. We can loop through DT existing, I guess, instead and do it the opposite way. So DT existing rows, and then if DR or DT dot as enumerable field special field equals to, yeah, so just reversing it basically, and then we're removing the DT. So therefore, it should just be in the inverse basically, and we shouldn't be modifying it. Yeah, that won't work. Remove rows. Oh, you know what we can do? We can just say data row found equals to this, and then we're searching DT at that point in time, and then we can say remove found, and then found is not equal to null. Therefore, I'm not modifying the same instance that I'm iterating through. And now it should work. So if we refresh this, hey, we only got 3 rows. So let's go add another row. Ab, you're going to join the list. Ab
Yep.
3D Designer. Okay, we should save it. We re-execute our code. We should get only 1 row that gets added. And there you go. And so if we go back here into our SQL, refresh, we got Ab join the list. There he is. Now, if we decided one day that we're going to truncate the whole list, goodbye, delete rows, right? And we're going to add Tricky Thomas. I don't know. Can't think of a better name right now. And then we run it again. Sheet only has 1 row. Uh-oh. Sequence contains no elements. That means that it got in here again. Ah, okay. So the table does exist, but the existing or the no. How's that possible? The sequence contains no elements. It's telling me the DT sequence contains no elements. Or DR special field. I mean DT. So DT existing should have four records or whatever it is in it, which it does. And DT should have 1 record in it, which it does. I mean, I could say first or default, because it means it didn't find it. Which then that means that could be null, which is fine. I'm checking for that down here. Okay, so that seems to like it. So it seems like if I do first and it doesn't have anything, it comes back empty. So there you go. So Tricky Thomas was added. If we run it again, it should just run with no errors. It does. And we should maintain the same record count of 5, which we do. And if we go back in and add 1 more record, Scooby Doo, save it up and run it. We get 2 records from the API. We load it. We should only get 1 more record here. We got 6 rows now. If we delete everything and we run it, we shouldn't get an error either if it's empty. I don't know. Oh, I guess I didn't save it. Probably be a good idea if I saved it, huh? But we shouldn't have increased rows here either way, so we're still at 6. Okay, let's rerun it. We should get back 0 rows. We don't get an error. That's good. Which means, nothing should have happened here. We should maintain 6 rows, which we do. And then we're gonna go add 1 more thing in here. I don't know, Rob Thomas. I got that Thomas stuck in my head, so. And run it. We should go 1 row from the API. And then we should get 1 more row in here. And no errors. There we go. And we got Rob Thomas in the mix. So I hope you followed all of that, Ab, and you're now like the best programmer in the world.
Yep, I got every single word you said.
Now I'm pretty sure if Ab started showing me I'm pretty sure if Ab started showing me his 3D stuff, I would get lost and do the same thing. But This code will be available for you guys to grab if you guys want to do some SmartSheet data archival. There is a better way of doing this using link. I've done it in the past. I don't remember how to do it specifically. It's like a contains thing, and you can delete directly from a data table without having to create a new one and all that jazz. And you can also do like a left join, and yeah, we won't go there. But this will be available for you. You can see that it does work. We've done each testing of it, and I will upload it into a repository and then post that repository in the video as well as the first video. Okay. Now, Ab, do you have enough energy to start tackling your project?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's do it. Let's go and close this project. No, I don't want to remove it. I want a close solution. Where is my closed solution? Ab, do you? I know it's in their file. There you go. All right, let's create a new project for Mr. Ab. I'm going to do this one through C# as well. We can do this again through Power Automate or what have you. But I'm going to do this through C# as well, just because I'm lazy. Ab, but I will ask you, do you want an interface for this? Like where you could type in a keyword, or are you okay running this through command line?
Ideally, I would love to have a GUI, but if not, that's okay too.
We can make a GUI if you want it. You want to make it a GUI?
That would be amazing, yeah.
All right, let's do it. So we're going to do a forms application. That's what it's called, a WinForms application. And we're going to give you a GUI, my friend. So we're going to call it auto texture getter. Okay?
Sounds good, yeah.
I can't think of a better name. You got a better name?
Oh, that's perfect. What do you mean?
All right. We're going to do 6.0 just because I just don't want to switch it. All right. So now this is a little bit different because this is not going to be ran through command line. This is going to be ran through. Oh, I didn't show the automation that we could have done with the other one. We're going to throw it in an SSIS package, but we're not going to go through that. We're just going to do it like this for now. All right. So there we go. We got our form here. So obviously we're going to need to, we want to first rename this. We're going to make this for Ab. So we're going to make it all special for Ab. We're going to say Abs auto texture getter. There you go.
And my name is on that.
Your name's in it, my friend. There it is. All right. So on this, we should have a toolbox. I don't see it here. So let's go ahead and see if we can get that on there. There we go. So obviously the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need a text box to type your search term in, right? I'm assuming. Mm-hmm. So let's just drag that on there. And we'll just throw a label as well to make it pretty. I mean, I know it's not going to be as pretty as your programs, but, you know.
It's beautiful. I use Maya. One of the best UIs that mankind has ever been through. So you're good.
All right. So we're going to go here on the search term. We're going to do search. Oh, no, that's not what we want. We want to name this box, not put the text in there. So we're going to do search term text box. Okay. And bring that over here. We'll give it a little more room. What do you think, designer? Somewhere around there?
Yep.
All right. Good. Now, you did give me like a list prior to this, right, of the couple places you would want to go, like Polygon, etc. Now, because we're doing this from an application, it would be very difficult for us to log in. It would be like a whole other thing. So I'm going to do it through just Google Images and the Polyhaven thing, if that's okay with you for now. And then later we can then maybe do another episode if you're willing to come back on, and we can then add that login method to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and probably want have a selector if you want to choose like Google Images or Polyhaven, right? Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and do like a combo box here. Where's combo? There he is. All right. And let's copy our label. I really should add some more resources to this VM. It's struggling. Okay. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna call this I don't know, where to get them.
Because why not?
Because
That's
why not? It's our program, right? We can call it what we want.
yep.
Search place combo. I can't think of better terms right now. So
No, you're doing amazing.
then we're gonna probably want like a place where you want to dump them, right? That's probably something you're gonna want to do. Is you're gonna tell me a folder to put them in, right? So let's go ahead and throw that up there. And we always have that little special button at the end, so you can browse your location.
Yep.
That infamous 3-dot button. So we'll do text ... We'll make it square, and we're gonna be lazy making it square just by coming over here and changing the properties. Look at that. All right. Everything's got to be like designer-esque for Ab here.
What?
We're gonna do drop location text box and where to get them, where to put them.
Yep. Exactly. I love that.
All right. So we got that, and then we're gonna need a do it button, right?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Do it. All right. I'm literally gonna call it that too, right? I'm gonna call it the do it button.
Gotta have the exclamation mark.
Absolutely. Now I'm assuming that the polyhaven's probably paginated, right? So
no clue what that means, but yeah, sure.
Paginated means like when you do a search result, like it has like pages, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
You got to get into another page to download the actual asset that you're looking for. Yeah.
So it actually goes to another page where you have to grab the asset.
Yep.
But like, what about like the search result list? Does it have? Actually, let's just pull it up and look at this,
Yep.
right? Why can't I copy the link? There it is.
You could just Google it if you don't
Yeah. Close other tabs. Where's my close other tabs? I don't use this Edge browser. What is Edge browser? I should install Chrome on this thing.
No, you're a dev. You're a dev. You shouldn't be using Chrome. Come on.
What do you mean? Chrome is the best.
Chrome eats up your RAM like it's so dumb the amount of RAM.
Yeah, but you actually, as a dev, you actually have to use all browsers. So technically,
yeah.
Now remember, this is on a dev VM, so I actually have all browsers here. You see, I use Firefox and Chrome on my. Everyone else you can't see this, but I'm showing Ab on my personal screen. I have Firefox and Chrome on my personal machine all times, and I pull up Edge rarely.
I'm a Brave user, so.
What's that?
I'm a Brave user, so.
Oh yeah, well, we all can't be perfect. Yeah, it looks like it wanted to go through Discord because we grabbed it through Discord. There you go. All right, so Polyhaven. So if we do like, where would you go? Like, walk me through this, Ab.
Just pick a texture. Like, let's say I'm looking for wood. There's a panel that just has all the wood textures. Like, there's a list of textures on the left.
Okay? So okay, over here. Okay, yeah. So you're saying like you would go to wood.
Like if I wanted wood, I'd click on wood, browse what I like, and download it. But again, like I want to have a library of it, so that is why the mass downloader would be really helpful.
Right. Okay. So this wood texture over here on the left. So this actually is not images. I thought this was a little bit different of a layout. So
yeah, you click on them, and then you'd get the actual texture. Like you click on any one of them.
So you actually have to drill down quite a bit here. Are these textures right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just click on one of
them. So if I clicked on wood, this lists everything?
Yeah, that's all the wood on the website.
So and each one of these is a texture, right?
Yeah, you'd click on it and you'd get all of your different map types.
So, but that doesn't make sense because this has 65 and this has 44, 30. Like, how is that all of these?
They're different kinds, I guess. One is like man-made, outdoor. Like they're different finishes.
But what does the 65 up here represent?
That's just all of the wood.
But
So
the
there's an indoor
man-made
and
has 44 wood.
yeah.
Outdoor is 38 wood. That
Oh,
alone right there is more than 65.
they're reusing the same textures, I'm guessing. Like for
Ah, okay.
yeah, it suits multiple scenarios, but the same texture would suit them.
Okay, so
The
this,
different.
if I went to wood, this would be all of them.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be all.
So I would have to I would have to program this differently. So because Polyhaven like has this drill out. I thought it was like kind of like a for freeform
Mhm.
search, if that makes sense. Kind of like Google Images. So we would
Google
have
works
to
too as long as it's just high quality textures. If the resolution is higher than, let's say, 1K, I'm okay with that.
right. Well, let's just do it for Polyhaven for now.
Yeah,
Okay. And then
that
we can always do Google Haven or Google later. Okay.
yeah, that works too.
So we're gonna only add one option or combo, which will be Polyhaven. Okay.
Okay.
Uh and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another combo. So we for our search term we wouldn't really search. That would become a combo box basically,
Mhm.
right? So we're gonna do we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna add another combo box on top of it, okay? And we're gonna go ahead and call this Polyhaven combo. And we're gonna go ahead and say we're gonna load our code here, and we're gonna say when we load our initialize our form, we're gonna go ahead and search term text box dot visible equals to false. Okay. We're gonna let poly, and then we're gonna say the. Did I name that? I don't think I named that combo over here. I did search place combo. Okay, we're gonna say search place combo dot index or dot selected index equals to 0, and then we're gonna go ahead and update the collection manually. We can get more fancy with this later, but we're gonna call it Polyhaven. And then where to put them, and this can come back up a little bit. And then this combo is gonna get filled with all the different things. So let's bring this side by side. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Your guys' resolution probably got totally screwed up there. I apologize. I have no idea what that did to you guys on the stream, and I'm sorry. I'm going to bring this side by side with Polyhaven. We're going to go ahead and get the properties of the search term and get the collection and just go down the list. Well, I guess we could theoretically just do all, but it's all paginated.
That means
It's not. It's just a list. Oh, but it's dynamically loading, you see? As I
yeah.
scroll down, it keeps loading more and more. So that's actually another challenge that we can try to overcome as well. So let's go ahead and let's just do wood for now and see what happens. We'll add all the terms in here, but we'll do wood for now.
Okay, gotcha.
So we'll do aerial, terrain, floor, man-made. Oh no, that's part of wood. Close my wood, darn it. There we go. Aerial, terrain, floor, brick, wood, plaster, concrete, fabric. I'm wondering how does it do, like, look on that. What's it gonna use? It uses a dash instead of a slash. Okay, so just to be lazy. I'm gonna do plaster dash concrete. Fabric, metal, roofing, rock. Okay. So we got that, and then where to put them, right? We need to make an action on this, so we're gonna do an open folder, folder dialog, folder browser dialog equals to folder dialog equals to new, and then we're gonna do dialog result equals to folder dialog dot show dialog, and then we're gonna do if it is okay. Then we're gonna do our drop location dot text equals to result dot it should have like a name or oh no, not result, folder dialog. Not container, name, path, selected path. Okay.
Yep.
So, and then obviously you can just copy and paste your path in there if you'd like to,
Mhm.
right? Okay. So let's just see how this program runs now. Let's just full screen it here. Shrink the form down because we don't need it that big. And then we're going to say that you can't maximize this because I'm not going to do GUI stuff right now. And you can't minimize it either. So screw you. It's either running or not.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can close it. That's all you can do.
Yeah. As long as it functions, you don't really need the extra details.
So we should be able to hit the browse button now. We should get a folder dialog. We should be able to say like downloads and hit save. And there you go. Okay. So,
Yep.
and then we hit the drop down here. And there's a search term. Cool.
Mhm. Yep.
And then we have Polyhaven automatically selected. Cool. So now we need to go ahead and modify our do it button. So the do it button is going to consist of, obviously, we're going to do web request. This is really what we're doing, right? Is a web request. So we're going to go ahead and reach out to Polyhaven. This is going to be our base URL, right? So let's go ahead and put a base up here. We can do string base URL equals to, there you go. Okay. And then we're going to do a web request. And wow, I just did this the other day and I'm tired and I can't remember actually how to do a web request right now in C#. C# web request DOM XML. How to DOM XML XPath selector. There you go, something like that. So you have web browser document invoke script. Okay, this is already bothering me. I can't. I gotta download Chrome right now. I'm just no. See ya.
Did you have Chrome?
I have it on my local, not on the VM.
Right.
And this is the VM, right? So we gotta go download Chrome real quick. What is this? Yeah. Oh, I did already download. I didn't see it. That was fast. We're gonna make this little program for you, man. It's the last thing we do. Yeah, says default, please. Got it. Web browser. Set default. Thank you. See ya. Bye bye, Edge. Bye bye. All right. Yeah, Bing results suck. So C sharp XPath uh web request. For those who aren't familiar with what XPath is, when you're looking at, and I don't know if you know what XPath is either, Ab. But like for example, when you're looking at a web page, like let's go to, for example, my web page, right? Maybe. There you go.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
if you right click and inspect on an element, you can do this also
Yeah.
in Edge. But if you go, like, say you wanted to know, like, you wanted to get this exact element, right, through JavaScript or through another software, right? You actually right click on this and say copy, and then copy XPath. And then you would use copy selector or JS path depending on which thing. But XPath is kind of like the universal. And then that gives you the actual place in the DOM, as they call it, uh, where that element's located. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So through like all this HTML, that's the location of how you find it.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
drill
It's
down,
like a
basically.
folder directory, but for websites.
Yeah, kind of. Because like if you notice, if we do that again, right? If I
Yeah.
paste it, you'll notice it's like, okay, in the body, in
Yeah.
the second div, or this would be third div because it's array, in the third div of the body, in the first section tag of the body, in the third or second section, in the second or third div of that section, within the first div or second div of that section, within the div, because there's only one of that section, within the fourth div of that section, within the div of that section, within the div of that section, find the anchor element,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. Pretty straightforward, it seems.
Yeah. And then they have like nth child and all this other stuff. So we won't go there. But yeah. So that's basically what XPath is essentially. It's a way to iterate through the DOM to find something essentially.
Sure.
All right, so this is some HTML, cool document, HTML agility pack dot HTML document load HTML. Blah. Okay, cool. And then document and then select nodes. Yeah, so that's basically what I need right there. Thank you. So we'll go back over to Visual Studio. We'll do something like that. We're gonna have to import that. So that actually doesn't exist. So we're gonna have to go into our packages and go get her. Uh, we do not want that. We want the one by Microsoft. Is this by Microsoft? No. 182 million downloads. I think that's the one we want. This is an agile HTML parser that builds and reads DOM and supports plain XPath. Or yeah, that sounds like what I want. All right. It reads it and then loads the string, and we. I think we just pass it a website here. It should work. Let's try. I don't know if you have to get like the DOM or the website first through a different method, and this is trying to read it as the DOM. Let's find out. So let's run it. We don't have any validation or do it buttons, right? So we're just gonna do it. And let's look at our document. And parse the text. Yeah, yeah. It just parsed our yeah, it just parsed that. That's not what we want. Uh so we want C sharp get DOM or get DOM elements. Page. Oh, okay. So we need to use web client. So yeah, that's what I thought. I knew we had to use something like that. Okay. And then page equals the download string. And then URL goes up there. And then we pass page here. So should be able to do something like that. And when we get down to our spot, that should have loaded the DOM here. Is we're not doing it asymmetric. Oh, I went too far. I don't have access to that thing now. Turn off that breakpoint. Let's run it again. And go. So we have access to document here. And I can already tell by looking at here. If you look at the page, you can see the doc type and all that. You can see the entire DOM right here. There it should be.
That is insane.
Okay. So, yeah. What we need to do now then is basically just switch this to our base path. And we're going to add some string interpolation here. And so we're going to do base path, base URL, right? And then we're going to do a slash. And then if you notice when we're on Polyhaven, it basically did. All right, now I can just close you. Goodbye, Edge. So yeah, I don't need you anymore. And when we were here and we selected like wood, right? It just did wood.
Yep.
Right. So we know that we can just tack it on the end and we're basically done. So, but we do need a lowercase because I think I did, if I remember correctly, I did like uppercases to make it look pretty. In the combo box up here. Yeah. So I did like uppercases up. So we'll need to like lowercase that thing. So that's easy enough. First off, we're going to say if combo box, nope, if polyhaven combo dot text equals to, or we can actually do it a little better. We do string is null or empty polyhaven text. Then message Mr. Abe and tell him, dude, what texture? Select one. And then just return. Don't do anything. So let's test that out, make sure it works. So if you just try to do what I did a second ago, it's gonna say, hey. Okay, bye-bye, right? And then because we want to make this we're a little bit more fancy, maybe. I don't know if you can actually do message box options. MBO equals to new MBO dot location X Y equals to new let's do C# message box show location. You don't have access to it. You have to interpret the form. That's lame. I thought you can. I didn't know you have to insert. Yeah, you basically have to you have to overwrite the. No thanks. Too much work. It's gonna go in the center of your screen. That's simple. All right. So blah 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 blah. Okay, so now we just need to do here string interpolation, and we can do polyhaven combo dot text dot to lower. Okay. Go and run that. technically, if I do something like wood and hit do it, there's your Polyhaven tech DOM. That makes sense?
As much as it can for me, but yeah.
So that's basically, so what that is, that's it. Basically loaded this website, right?
Mhm.
And then it basically grabbed, when you do like right click show code or whatever, right? Or right click inspect, it loaded all of this stuff that's in this elements, basically. That's what's in that thing. So now when I select on something like this and inspect this, I know if I click on anything that's in that outer wrapper, right, of this element,
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee if I click on anything that's in this, there's the anchor link right there, right? So
Yeah.
I can even use that. This has a href to
There's
slash
also,
a whatever.
I'm not sure if this will be taken into account, but when you do click on a texture, like any of the materials, you'll have to select the resolution that you want to download it. I don't know if that will hinder the code
It
in any
will,
way.
but we're going to, yeah, absolutely will, absolutely will.
Okay.
But we're not to the page just yet. We're trying to get to that
Yeah.
page, right?
Okay. Got it.
But we might be able to shortcut it, because if when looking at this, right, I'm seeing that it is giving me like Oak Vendor 01, right?
Yeah.
So let's actually just take note of this real fast. Let's go copy element, and does that include all that garbage? Okay, that sucks. Edit SHTML. Just give me, I only want to pay attention to this. We're just gonna take note of this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Put it here. Okay, and then I'm gonna go into this, and then I'm assuming I would click on download up here, right? But you have an option up here,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Okay. So what do you typically download your stuff in?
4K usually.
4K?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I hit download up here, believe it or not, when I clicked on that download button, there was what they call a
Yeah.
web request that was made. Okay.
Yeah.
And if I look at this network tab, I'll see that web request in action.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it download as? A JPEG typically, or?
A zip file.
Ah, okay, I see. And it extracts it here. Okay.
Yeah. You
Uh,
can select the method of download. If you go hover over the 4K button, there's a blender icon on the right. Yeah, you can select the.
okay.
So I really just download zips. There's the others don't really interest me. So, yeah.
Right. Well, that actually, then you have to go through and unzip them all as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's gonna suck. But guess what? We can do that for you too.
Sweet. Okay.
So let's go ahead and actually clear this console. Okay, and I'm gonna download this thing again. So by doing this blend, is this blender, is that a zip by default, or is that or is it doing
Blend,
something else?
blend is the default. You'll have to
Okay.
select zip.
So I select zip, right?
Yeah.
And then I just hit go, right? Download.
Yeah, pretty
Okay.
much.
You don't change any of this typically?
I would uncheck blend and GLTF because
Okay.
that isn't useful to me. Everything else, yes.
Okay.
Have that.
So we're gonna hit go here. And you're gonna notice that right here, I don't know why it's doing all of this. Interesting. Should be a single request. Yeah, it's interesting. That should just be a single request. if I go here, of course it's going to do that. That's interesting. Do I have wget available to me in here? Highly doubt it. No, I do. Okay. CD into downloads. The remote server returned the arrow not found. Was this a post? Oh, so get request. That's interesting. So if I paste it in here, which does a get request, it works fine. Interesting. But if I use wget, it doesn't work. That don't make no sense. Let's see if I can do. Do I have git bash on here? I don't think I installed git yet. No, I haven't. Let me just install git real quick. Technically, if I was a good boy, I could just type win-git install git, but you know, I don't want to be the IT pro right now. I'm in programming mode, not sysadmin mode. Scalar, blah blah blah. We'll just use Notepad for now. I don't care. Where's Notepad? There you go. It's the worst thing to do, but I don't have anything else installed right now, so. Yep. I'm not gonna do symbolic links right now. There we go. And then I will go into here. For those who don't know, you can do something like this, and you can add this to your environment variables, and then you have basically access to all of the Linux commands that are there. So if you're more familiar with Linux and you want your Linux commands, just install git, and they have all the precompiles for you of the binaries all right here for all the Linux commands that you want, and you can then just use those. So now if I do, for example, a new terminal here, I could do which is not in Windows, so this shell hasn't been reloaded yet. You'll see if I type which, maybe it reloaded the environment. Nope, which is not a term that's recognized. But if I go to the new command here, and I do which, and I do like dir, for example, it tells me where it's at. Because this is a precompiled library. So I can do like which, and you'll see that it's telling me it's in the user bin directory. If I do, and it's talking about the, actually, I think it's from WSL. But anyways, if we do which dot wget, you can see that it's telling me the places that it could be in, multiple locations. So in this case, I want to use the one that comes out of git, which should be in here somewhere. Stop me if you see it. Am I blind? I don't see it. Do you?
Not really.
Huh. Is wget not in here? Oh, it's not. Well, then shiver me timbers, boy. uh, let's close terminal and see if git bash will be any better. So when I do that, I should get another shell now in here called git bash. And if I do wget, nope, it's not what I wanted to do. Wget, and then whatever the heck that URL was, I kept pasting that I lost evidently. So let's re-download it again. Oh, but I have to re-download it. Oh, it saved all the settings.
Yep.
We'll go here. Wget is not found. That's awesome. Uh, okay. I'm assuming that's gonna work. Let's just call it that way. And then we can do C# direct download. Yep. So you just use the client to do it, which I already have. You can see I don't like to remember things.
You know, 14 languages. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't know a few things.
I mean,
Especially syntax.
yeah, I just don't like to remember all the libraries. There's so much
Completely
there.
fair. Yeah, that is completely fair.
So this would be like, I don't know, whatever the file name is, which we would have. And this would be a .zip file. And this is going to be the location of where I want to put it. So technically it would be path.combine and then drop location text box .text plus this. There you go. And then we'll go into downloads. We'll delete all these dudes. And then we'll just put our path here to grab it from here. So we'll go C users owner downloads copy, and then we'll just default that as the path. So we'll say drop location text box .text, so we don't have to select it each time. Equals to that. Stop, and then let's go ahead and just run that and see what happens. Okay. So if I hit do it, we'll do wood and then do it. It doesn't matter. We're not doing all of them right now. We're just doing one. The remote server returned 404. Sure is shiver me timbers. They're basically preventing it. That's crazy. I want to know how they're doing it. That's a response header. The request header has nothing. Call stack is this download.js. Location equals UR starting download of. Then they're just using a location ref, so it just basically forwards the browser there, which then technically does exactly what it does, which makes a request to it. But how are request headers right here? Maybe we have to add the refer. Let's add a header. So we can do web or header, web header collection. Is a collection of web header collection class, which is a collection of web header collection. That doesn't make any sense. Web client is the class we're using. Web client dot header, and then this is going to be a web header collection of web client dot headers. Okay. So web header collection equals to web header collection, or oops, web header collection equals, yeah, that's fine. Header collection dot add new HTTP header. That's what I was looking for. And then the header is going to be 2 parts, which is the key and value pair. Should be. What's the overload on it? Let's see. So you have the header and the string value. No, I'm looking for this. So I'm assuming what are you yelling at? They're not saying it takes one argument. Add header to web client C#. Header set. Okay, do something like that. Turn that to web client, and then we want to add, if we can, we're going to try to fake it and call it the refer. Capital R. And then is this? See if that works. So we'll select wood. Do it. And we got a 404 still. They're definitely making it more difficult to create a program like this.
I mean, it is open sourced, so I don't know. Not open sourced, like it is like all free assets. So, and it is, I'm pretty sure, non-commercial license as well. Like commercial license is available.
Right.
So
But
I'm not sure.
I don't know why they would like
Yeah,
make it
exactly.
extra hard though, right? So I may have to do a little bit more research on this because I've never seen it like this as well, where like they, because typically when you make a web request like this, right, it's just like this and that's it. You know what I mean? And it's
Okay.
done. And it's done.
Yeah.
Like it's one request, but this is actually showing me like all the files are inside the zip file. So it's
Right.
almost like it's opening up a stream and then doing it. But then,
Does it compress the files on runtime? Like on.
well, that's what it looks like it's doing. But I personally have never seen that before.
Okay.
And like, yeah, I've never seen that before. Let's see if I have Visual Studio Code. I should have it here. No, I don't have it installed either. Man, this dev machine is bleak. All right, let's go get that. Nope. That was ARM. Definitely don't want ARM. Definitely don't have an ARM processor here. I use. Have you ever heard of Postman, Ab?
Do not have not. I have not.
Okay, that's a. It's basically like a web request tester, essentially for like
Okay.
it's typically used for like APIs and things like that.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it's like one of the main ones that everyone knows and uses and loves. I wouldn't really call it love. There's a lot of love-hate relationship there, actually.
Isn't that with like every software though?
Yeah, it's true. Any software that gets popular, right? There's tons
Yeah.
of love-hate. But there's a guy that had that love-hate relationship heavily, and he made a extension to Visual Studio Code, which is like the number one software out there for free IDE web development. And basically, he made an extension to this that replicates pretty much everything that Postman does, which is insane. And it's called Thunder Client. So those who are using Postman out there and you use Visual Studio Code, you should probably get Thunder Client because it's super awesome and it's built into your browser or built into your IDE. You don't have to go anywhere. So we're gonna do a new request here, and I'm just gonna drop that request in, see what happens. Maybe it'll give me a little more info. Oh, you know what? Is that ID changing every time? No, that ID stayed the same. 3322, right? Let's refresh this and download it as a 4K zip again. Once it's done loading all its assets, download. Yeah, that's how they're doing it. Okay. So they're making somewhere on this page. Again, this was called from. If we look at it, the initiator was this download.js. Await promise, new promise, message channel, port add event listener, if resolve, could not prepare download. Event.data result, JSON stringify, scope is download, whilst promise resolve set timeout, console URI location origin download is a new date to ISO string, slice 019. We got it. Now we just have to convert that to C#. There it is right there. That's the magic sauce.
Yeah. What even is that?
So, okay. So that's basically creating a new date object, basically,
Okay.
in JavaScript. So if I were to go to, let me copy this so I don't lose it real fast. So basically, that would be like if I just did in console here, new date, right? That's a date object. But from that date object, I can extrapolate, like, so if I did like var a equals to new date, if I do a dot like format or two string, right? Not two JSON, two string, and then I can do something like this and do like year, month, day, or something like that. Year. No, it's gonna be something else. What is it? Format. Is it now? No, by default it is now. Get dates, get full year. Oh, you just have to format it manually. There's no like maybe there's like two locale date string. Yeah, probably that. Two locale date string. There you go. See? And it recognizes that my browser tells it. My browser understands that I'm in America. My browser understands that I have English, and American date format on my set on my computer. And so it automatically interprets and understands to format it in that date string. That's why it says locale. Does that make sense? Did I lose? Did I lose you?
I'm still here. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought
Yeah.
my mic wasn't.
Uh,
My mic was on. It was just not picking up.
so if I do that, you'll see that it's like some really crazy string, right? But if I do so, like that method is basically it's a date object, and then to ISO string, right? Basically is another one like I just did with the locale string. Uh,
Right.
it's just a different string. I, dude, I'm stop being a punk, Chrome.
What did I do?
No, Chrome. It's not letting me do like basic date commands. Please allow pasting below and hit enter to allow pasting. What? I've never seen this. This is like new thing. Please allow pasting below. Please type allow pasting. There we go. It's a new thing that Chrome built in, I guess. Okay, whatever. So that's what it's doing right there. See that? So that's what it's getting. It's gonna
Yeah.
output that. Then it's saying slice, and that means basic. You ever use substring in Excel?
I've tried it. Yeah.
So it means basically like start at position and then go to how many positions.
Right.
Does that make sense? So it's gonna go 19 positions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it's getting rid of this last little bit, basically, right?
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
if I do that, you should see it's exactly what I said, right? Gets rid of that. Obviously, this changed because the time changed, but it gets that last little bit, right? And then it's doing replace the T right there. Replace, this is an expression T dash with blank. So it's saying if it exists, replace it basically. So when I do that, right? Oh, it's replacing T and dash. That's what it is. T and dash. And they're escaping dash right here and colon. Because I guess there's colons in here too. Yeah, colon right there. So they're replacing T's, dashes, and colons. And then global is what it stands for, and then I's iterations with blank. And so you get this smashed up string basically. So I
Right.
guarantee if I do this, which is brand new, right? I'll do it again. Just copy this. Let's try botching up a request like this. Four or four. Okay. So I'm assuming that it has to be done basically instantly, essentially. Uh let's go back over here. Let's read that again. Console log create download JSON. So they're even like this JSON stringify files. New promise. Add event listener. Event result. Reject. Yeah, so I'm assuming there's some kind of thing in the back end that basically like has like a timer essentially, if that makes sense, to
Right.
see
Yeah.
like when it is essentially. And if it's like not within a certain period of like seconds, right? Then have a nice day.
Okay.
So let's do this. Let's do location.href, which is how you change the browser, basically location equals to, and we're gonna put this botched up string together essentially. Sorry, excuse me, guys. So we're gonna do something like this. Okay. Quote, 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 quote. get rid of this, quote, quote, plus, plus, right? And then take
Mm-hmm.
this craziness right here, right? And then wrap it 404. Well, we're getting closer.
I mean, 2 minutes ago you didn't even know how to access it. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, the 404s is what the 404 is what's getting me. I'm trying. I have to read this JavaScript a little bit more, but basically, this is what is doing it essentially.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I just like just for kicks and giggles, right? Oh, reopen, close tab, back. It's definitely an SPA. Download. Oh, I don't want to do that. Nope. Track the download. There you go. Look at that. So it even tracks the download, and it gives it a GUI ID. Let's see where it's putting that in console. Source. So if I go here, it's probably not. It probably never got that here. I'm gonna have to download it again, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. All right. Download.js. I bet you if I just initialize, or let's see where this comes from. Start download. Oh, it's in the stat tray, so it should be. Oh yeah, look at that. It's definitely obfuscated. Yeah, it's definitely obfuscated. It's coming from somewhere else. Download JS. And that's probably coming from some other JavaScript file that's calling it. And you see it has like all this like A, right? This A is actually that. There's like this very well obfuscated. So unfortunately, because we're at this crossroad with this might have to be for another episode. So you may have to come back.
No,
Sorry,
yeah, got you.
sorry,
No,
Ab.
for sure. I don't even know how you do this, so
Yeah, so
completely
it's gonna be a little bit more time for me to do it because I don't know. I mean, normally figuring out Fridays is always about figuring it out on the fly.
yeah.
But we have been at this for a little bit now, and I don't know how much more long this can take. So I'll probably do a little bit more research on how it's actually cobbling all this together and
Yeah,
making the request. It seems very specific to Polyhaven. So once we figure that out, we should be able to go ahead and hijack
yeah, I
it,
got
so to speak. You can see that it's even like outputting everything here, right?
yeah,
Hey, here's all the crap you're downloading. So I'll have to see how that's actually happening.
for sure, yeah.
So everyone, I hope you found this educational. Hopefully, you kind of understand how like both Ab and I were speaking about how it would help his workflow by downloading all these textures because you can imagine there was like 500 something textures there if I remember correctly,
Yeah, something
you would have to
pretty
go through it each and every one, click 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 and download. Now if it's a one-time thing like Polyhaven has, that would be one thing, but if Polyhaven's constantly updating its site with different textures, as well as maybe like different colors you can see here. Sometimes the colors you can change, and I'm assuming that's a different texture in itself. Is that true?
I think so. I think probably not quite sure
So
what
like
that
you
is
clicked
actually.
on this or whatever, it'd be a different color, or is that something you change in your software?
I would change that in my software, yeah.
Okay, so they're just giving you like kind of like a preview of what it would look like essentially.
Probably, yeah. Or
Uh,
they're different maps, maybe. Oh, they're different. Okay, yeah. Can you hover over the other ones?
yeah, I can click on it. Maybe yeah.
Okay, yeah, they're different texture files. So one's the color of the actual material, one's they do different things like normal maps and stuff like that. They're different texture files.
So is that part of all the stuff that's in
Yeah,
this?
that'll come in within the zip itself.
Okay. So technically, those are like the EXR files, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
EXR and like
Okay.
files and stuff, other than the color itself.
Gotcha. Okay. So, but even so, like 500 times again, if you had to do it one time, fine. But if they're updating with new textures, we can then track the file name because it looks like it's very specific, right, to what it is. And we can track it if you're keeping it all in the same folder. We just wouldn't re-download that file.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you. It
And we
doesn't
could,
like overwrite stuff.
yeah, you can see actually from when I did this. Remember we tracked the name of it over here. If you look
Yep.
at the name, it's literally just the name plus 4K.
Yep.
So pretty
So if
simple.
I change out the resolution, it just change out the ending.
Yeah,
And it
exactly. That's what we could do over on our side. Correct. Yeah. Now the only thing I don't know is that uh like if you just did that, would it also include because like when you set this up, remember you had to uncheck this and this, you know?
Yep.
So I don't know.
It does keep it when you reload the website.
Right, but I'm saying I don't know if like how it's doing that in the background. I have to read through the JavaScript basically to figure that out. Because I'm assuming that it's prepping the download on loading of the page, if that makes sense. And somewhere there is that number here, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the JavaScript, which unfortunately you cannot search this way because it's in the JS store. So I have to figure out where it's creating that and storing that and then prepping it, if that makes sense, for
Gotcha,
me to then figure out how to replicate that from the other side.
Okay.
But this is all about this is how automation works. So when people think, "Oh yeah, it's so easy to automate," it is. It really is.
It's done. Yeah.
But sometimes it gets to the point where like there's people that put obviously they're gonna put blocks in place, right? This is they worked really hard on their product and they don't want people just stealing it.
For sure.
But at the same time, you don't want to go to their website nonstop to download stuff when you can just hit one button. So it's a balance of going back and forth, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Ab, I guess we'll have to have you on again if you're okay with that. And once I figure out how they're doing it the JavaScript side, we can finish off your tool for you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much.
No worries,
for your
man.
time.
Thank you. Hope to see you back here.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Bye, my friend. Bye, everyone. I hope you guys have a good day. We'll see you next Friday for Figure It Out Fridays, and we'll keep it on rolling. Bye bye.